In this brief presentation, we'll be taking a look at the 13 types of air purification, how they work, some of the pros and cons, what type fits your needs. We'll then do a little cost comparison and feature comparison amongst major brands. There are basically 13 types of air purification you'll find on the market. HEPA, UV, pre-filter, negative ion, electrostatic, they're also called Truman cell, ozone, plasma, carbon or charcoal, zeolite, TiO2, water, and ceramic. HEPA filters, they look like a cloth filter that accordions in and out. If you've ever seen a car filter, it's similar to that. It's usually white but turns dark as pollen, dust, and soot are accumulated. Unfortunately, it does have to be replaced, which means an additional cost. They're non-washable, but allergists and experts agree that HEPA works the best for pollen, dust, and any kind of solid airborne pollutant. You'll generally have to change it every year or so depending on the size of the filter and size of the room and conditions. They're very inexpensive to make, so I would, before I purchase one, I'd look for an affordable replacement filter, as many manufacturers overcharge for replacement filters that way. Next we have UV, TiO2, or plasma. You're probably familiar with UV light from tanning beds and sunglasses, but UV is used to sanitize hospitals. It's effective at destroying many viruses and has to do with the frequency of the UV light. So it'll kill viruses, bacteria, germs, and do overall sanitizing. It's relatively inexpensive to make, and some manufacturers now include UV in their air purifiers, and I'd certainly look for that as well, just to keep colds and flus and viruses down in your home. TiO2, which is a form of titanium, simply enhances the UV light up to 1,000 times. It's usually a little grid that goes in front of or before the UV light. Plasma grids work in a similar way. Pre-filters are like a screen door in your home. They're generally washable, and they simply collect hair, dust, lint, and large particles before going through the rest of the purifier. What's nice about them, they also protect the other filters like HEPA and extend their light because you're not getting some of the large things stuck in the filter. Now we look at negative ion, electrostatic, and ozone filters. And they operate on the fact that some airborne particles have a positive or negative charge. So with like a negative ionizer, which are actually, negative ions are actually good for your health, it can render some pollutants inert. And it used to be that you could see a negative ionizer on a wall and it would actually attach a lot of the particles around the wall and around furniture, that sort of thing. So they were undesirable, but now they're usually inside the unit and there's not that problem. Electrostatic plates, and Oreck calls theirs a Truman cell, which no one has any idea what it stands for unless it's Harry Truman, but it's all the same thing. And they're often seen as a lot of parallel metal plates that you can take out and wash very often. And these plates are positively and negatively charged, so as air passes through them, it will attract some of the airborne particles if they are positively or negatively charged themselves. And that's where you get a lot of that black soot, etc. on some of these plates. It's not very effective at pollen or dust or viruses because there's not enough charge to them that generally get picked up that way. So if you're looking to have a dust-free home, electrostatic is not the way to go. And then we have ozone, which is simply an oxygen molecule with a third, which is unstable molecule added or charge added. It's very effective at killing mold, odor, chemicals, some viruses, and other airborne contaminants. Too much ozone can irritate some people's lungs, but it's probably the most effective way to rapidly treat a room with a problem of mold, mildew, or odor. And ozone by itself will not collect dust or pollen. Next we have zeolite. Now zeolite is a naturally occurring volcanic mineral which can absorb a lot of gases because of its structure. Once it absorbs that, though, you've got to put it out in the sun or out in the heat to actually remove or have it let go of those gases. It's not particularly effective in an air purifier. You can actually just buy a bag of it, stick that in your home or in your car if your car's new and you want to get rid of the new car smell, or any kind of outgassing from carpeting, etc. But it's not really, that effective inside air purifiers. But some of them have that. Carbon charcoal, similar to zeolite, it absorbs odor and gases, and that must be periodically replaced. But you'll see most purifiers have those nowadays. In fact, like the Oreck Air Purifier has a claim that you don't have to replace filters, but they claim this is not a filter, it's an odor thing. But so every 3 months you're supposed to replace this $49, $59 charcoal filter that they have, and so it's kind of deceptive advertising. Then you now have these water-based purifiers coming from China as well, and basically they just pull the air through the water, and that'll take out some dirt, soot, and dust from the air, but it's not really effective for gases, small particles, pollen, etc. So which type is best? Well, it depends on what your needs are. If you're looking to resolve pet hair and dander for allergies and asthma or any kind of pollen, you definitely want to look at HEPA and pre-filter. Then again, if you have pets and you're looking for odor or chemical sensitivity of any kind, then you want to look at charcoal, ozone, or zeolite. And then if you're looking to prevent colds, flu, viruses, or treat mold problems or mildew problems, now you're looking at UV light, TiO2, plasma, or actually ozone as well too, for the mold mildew situation. So here's some recommendations based on the technology, and then we'll do a little cost and feature comparison. Because many purifiers coming out of China, they're very reasonably priced. You can now find purifiers that have anywhere from 4 to 9 different technologies that we've mentioned. And I'd probably start with HEPA because it's just the most effective. And then I'd go with UV, after that a pre-filter, which almost all of them have nowadays, and then probably either ion or electrostatic, which will capture especially like pollution in the air. And then you might consider ozone or timed ozone for occasional treatment situations. You can find these now for anywhere from $150 to $300 depending on the size of the room. I'd also look for inexpensive replacement filters, and that's because many manufacturers, much like inkjet printer manufacturers, they'll sell you the filter, the air purifier inexpensively, but then the replacement filters are very expensive. So I'd look at the prices of those before I'd buy a HEPA filter of any kind or even UV. And then you might probably want to look for maybe a 1-year warranty of some kind. Now here's a comparison sheet showing some of the most popular models on the market, some of the technologies they offer for AirPod, Ionic Breeze, Oreck, Blue Air, and Sharp. And it'll just kind of give you a little idea of the different technologies available and some of the prices available in the market.